Big news, the Raiders are likely done with Maxx Crosby. They're probably going to trade the star edge rusher, and yes, the 49ers will call on him. But Jay Glazer reported that this is probably going to cost more than Micah Parsons. That was 2 first-round picks and the defensive tackle Kenny Clark going over to Dallas for Micah Parsons. So I have a hard time believing that the 49ers will be willing to fork over that much draft capital to pick up Maxx Crosby. That being said, you know that they're going to try. Back in 2018, the 49ers tried to trade for Khalil Mack. They actually offered more than any other team, yet the Raiders and Mark Davis didn't want to deal with the 49ers, and they traded Khalil Mack for a lesser offer to the Chicago Bears instead. So will history repeat itself? Will the 49ers put out a really good offer? Do the Raiders still feel the same way now that they're not in Oakland anymore? We shall see. Tom Brady also running a lot of things now. Mark Davis, though, remains the owner. I'm in a cool spot. This is the Pro in Palo Alto. Look, Steve Young on the big TV. This is the former Old Pro bar in Palo Alto, shut down a couple years ago. They have reopened it as a similar concept, but a more upscale concept with 49ers memorabilia, with the old mechanical bull, Stanford hat on top of the bull, still in the building, although not functional anymore. We're driving up from San Jose, where I talked to Sam Darnold and where we got some big news on Roger Craig. I don't know what happened to the old school sports bar burger, which sucked. This is gourmet in a sports bar. This is like next level as far as some of these ingredients. They even have the crispy onions on top of it. High level cheese. I mean, this is a deal. This is a deal. And this is Stanford, Palm Drive. This is where the Patriots are practicing. So the Seahawks, they're at San Jose State. The Patriots are staying a little further up 101 at the Santa Clara Marriott, which is the hotel that the 49ers use before games. And then they're busing up here to Stanford, beautiful Palm Drive, to practice. Look, it's the Ritz, San Jose style. Roger Craig has made it into the Hall of Fame. News first broken on this channel by Frank Gore last night. This is a cool week for 49ers fans because they've been waiting for a long time for Roger Craig to get in.
I'm happy, man. A guy who I always respect. I thought he was a hell of a running back, Super Bowl winner. I think he won three Super Bowls. Man, I'm happy that he getting in, man. I'm happy that he getting in.
So congratulations to Roger, and you know what? The 49ers might have 2 running backs elected to the Hall of Fame this year. Frank Gore is also going to be waiting for that knock on Thursday. He told me that he's nervous, but that he's at peace, and he's blessed to even be in this position. Anyway, Super Bowl week is really busy. We got to do this driving with David style, and I figured I'd show you guys the setup. This is the Seattle Seahawks team hotel here in downtown San Jose. I had to ask Sam Darnold a couple questions. I also caught up with former 49ers tight end Eric Saubert here at Seattle's team hotel. You can see there's a lot of security. There's San Jose PD waiting. It looks like those are escort motorcycles because I saw the Seahawks team buses lined up to take them to practice. I would assume that they already left the practice. But anyway, they've got this place really secure. You can't even drive in front of the hotel because of all the Super Bowl security concerns. They don't want anything crazy happening. So you can tell that it's all sealed off here. We're going to make our way through downtown San Jose. We've got to head up to Palo Alto right now. Those of you from the peninsula, you might remember a bar called the Old Pro in downtown Palo Alto. Stanford students definitely remember it. It was, I think, the best sports bar outside the city of San Francisco in the Bay Area for a long time. It closed down a couple years ago, but it is reopened and it's just called the Pro now. They still have the mechanical bull in there that was iconic, although it's no longer functional. And Kyle Shanahan was there the other night, and we'll feature what exactly happened. It's actually really, really funny. It was one of the early events. We're going to the Pro now. We're going to do a video from there. So we're kind of just trying to showcase the Bay Area during this Super Bowl week. Anyway, this is downtown San Jose. I know that we drive through downtown San Francisco more often, but shout out to those of you who live down here in San Jose. Thought that I would feature where we're at. I think we got to go by the Shark Tank as we talk about Roger Craig. Congratulations to him. It's been a long time coming. He retired after the 1993 season, played 8 of his 11 years with the San Francisco 49ers, and was a predecessor to Marshall Faulk and Christian McCaffrey, who's with San Francisco right now. I would say he was a predecessor to Frank Gore, who was also a good multi-purpose back, but the first running back to ever go 1,000, that is 1,000 receiving yards and 1,000 rushing yards in the same season, was Roger Craig in 1985. Prior to him, it had been thought that running backs just need to run. That's a nice building. Shout out to San Jose. I don't know what building that is. I'm not as good of a tour guide for this city, but I love, it's a church, all right? So all the Greek pillars there, very nicely done. San Jose, we're checking out your architecture as we go through. I don't think the Shark Tank looks that cool from the outside, but it is the Coliseum of San Jose, so we've got to go by it and pay our respects. But up until that 1985 season, up until Bill Walsh and Roger Craig got together, it had essentially been assumed that running backs need to stay in their lane. Running backs run the football, receivers catch it. And Bill Walsh said, well, I got a guy who can do both, who started his career as a fullback. Shout out to Kyle Juszczyk and all fullbacks out there. And Juszczyk is very versatile too. But Craig starts as a fullback, but really blossoms into this multi-purpose running back who can block, who can run, and obviously also catch the ball. He had a massive game in the Super Bowl that was here in the Bay Area. That was the 1985 Super Bowl, 1984 season. It was the year before Roger Craig went 1,000 as the 49ers beat the Dolphins 38-16. Roger's one of the best guys you'll ever meet. It took over 3 decades for him to get into the Hall of Fame. And the reason probably was a very unfair one. This is San Pedro Square. This is a cool area, I would say, of downtown San Jose. It's walkable from the hockey arena, from the Shark Tank. And there's a bunch of bars and like a food hall at the end of it. I know that a lot of people congregate just down this street before and after the hockey games. So if you want some walkability in downtown San Jose, this is where it's at. But for Roger Craig, it's so unfortunate, Margot, because the 49ers won back-to-back Super Bowls, 88 and 89. They were ahead in the 1990 NFC Championship game, at home, at Candlestick Park, late. Joe Montana had gotten hurt, Steve Young was in, and the 49ers were just running the football to nurse the lead late in the fourth quarter. And Roger Craig, in the final of his 8 seasons with the 49ers, after he did all this great stuff, fumbled at Candlestick. And the Giants recovered, and the Giants drove down the field, and they kicked the field goal at the very end, and it prevented what would have been the first three-peat in NFL history. And I think that has unfairly kept Roger Craig out of the Hall of Fame for over 3 decades, until now. So, and there's the Shark Tank. Here we are. We're pulling up on where the San Jose Sharks play their hockey. It's just so unfair that something like that, I mean, the 49ers could have not made any Super Bowls, and Roger Craig probably would have been in the Hall of Fame much sooner. That's how ridiculous some of this voting is. But thankfully, Roger is now going to be in that Hall of Fame. Now you can see up on the wall, they've got some of the Sharks players. That guy at the bottom, that's Macklin Celebrini. I met him at a 49ers game this year. They all are very small when they're on an NFL field, because compared to football guys, they're not very big. They're very fast and very athletic, though, and the pads make them look a lot bigger. The future for the Sharks, though, is very, very bright. They've got these young guys like a Macklin Celebrini. I'm sure we'll see him on the sideline at 49ers games for some time to come, and they can really play. I did my grad school, by the way, at Boston University, and that's where Macklin Celebrini did his undergrad and played. They've got a really good hockey program. So it's been cool to see the Sharks build this from the ground up. But I don't think we could do a video going through San Jose without going by the tank, because, I mean, this is a point of civic pride here in San Jose. Now, I don't know my way around San Jose nearly as effectively as anywhere else. I know I can't turn into here because I would be heading into the parking lot of the tank. There's the Caltrain station, San Jose Diridon. So you can hop on a train there and head all the way up to San Francisco. The new Caltrains are super nice, by the way. There's a biker just to my right, so I got to check my blind spot. All right, we took care of that. No helmet. He's chilling. He's chilling on a 73-degree day in February. You know, yes, you should always wear a helmet, PSA. But another PSA. I know a lot of people might scoff at San Jose. One thing that you can't take away from San Jose is the fact that we are sitting here early February and it's 73 degrees. So, I mean, that's, yeah, you have to respect that. You have to respect the weather game here. Now in the summer, it's a little warm for me. That's why I like to be up in the city, because it's a little cooler. Now, I think Margot, who's got the camera doing some excellent cinematography right now, might actually think otherwise. Oh, look, the sharks on the wall of that building. I mean, it's really, really funny to me that they blow a foghorn at Levi's Stadium, which is in the desert, which is obviously an homage to the Golden Gate Bridge. And the team in San Jose, which it's also like this is kind of a desert climate, maybe not fully a desert climate, but it's way inland. Their mascot is the Sharks, which is coming from the water. I guess it's by association of the Bay Area, but yeah, the Great White Shark Attack Triangle which is where the most great white shark attacks in the world are concentrated in a single geographic triangle, which centers around the Bay Area and the Golden Gate Bridge. And I guess it's not that far from here, and that's how the Sharks do get their name. We're going to be headed to 280 because anybody who knows Bay Area geography knows that you've got to take 280 and not 101 to get up and down the peninsula. Sam Darnold was really interesting. I asked him if he's going to use the same locker, if he's put in a request to use the same locker that he had as a 49er in 2023, because the Seahawks will be using the 49ers locker room. And he kind of lit up when I asked him, because he hadn't thought of that yet, and I don't blame him. I mean, he's got so many different things going on. He's getting ready to play a Super Bowl. But he said he's going to have to go ask the equipment manager to request that locker for him over in the corner, which I think it's a really cool, like, sentimental touch. Now, one thing about Frank Gore, and we talked to him in the interview yesterday, he played with Sam Darnold in 2020, and that was at the nadir for Sam Darnold, at the low point of his career with the Jets, and that was at the end or toward the end of Frank Gore's career in the NFL. He identified Sam as somebody who could be really good in this league if he just found the right situation. And there's a reason. San Jose Road's nice and bumpy, that's for sure. Yeah, well, the good thing is that iPhone has a nice little stabilizer in it. So when we're not going live, if this were live, people would have motion sickness just watching it. They're like, why is the camera shaking so much? But when you're actually recording videos on the iPhone, then it works a little bit better. Frank Gore was very adamant, and this is even back in 2020, and he talked to some 49ers people shortly thereafter, telling them Sam Darnold is the real deal. He just needs to be in a position where he is supported as a QB, because it can't just be you. You have to have the team support. You have to have the play calling support. You can't be in a toxic situation and expect good results. And that applies to anybody. I mean, there's so much talk right now online. This always surfaces every few months. Oh, what did the 49ers do wrong? Let's trace it all the way back to 2017. Oh, they shouldn't have assumed that they were going to get Kirk Cousins in 2018. They should have been looking at Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson in 2017. Even if they had drafted a quarterback in 2017, who's to say that that quarterback would have succeeded with a barren roster on a terrible team in San Francisco? Like, the 49ers said, hey, we've got a bad setup when Kyle Shanahan took over in 2017. One of the worst rosters he had ever seen. He had actually told that to Jed York in his interview. And they said, we need to build this roster up before we bring a quarterback in, because it could be a disaster if we bring a young QB in. You see it happen time and time again with Darnold in New York. Patrick Mahomes had to sit a year with the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't know if that would have gone as well for Patrick Mahomes had he played in his first season. And when he stepped in to start in 2018, it was a loaded situation with Tyreek Hill and company. So not everyone is as lucky as a Patrick Mahomes, right? And Sam Darnold was one of the unlucky ones, having to start with the New York Jets. But one of the points that Frank Gore made is that would have broken a lot of quarterbacks, a lot of players. They would have just given up. But he kept on working through leaving the Jets to the Carolina Panthers, all the way to the 49ers in 2023, and then the Vikings, and now his fifth team, the Seattle Seahawks, and look now, he's in the Super Bowl. So Frank Gore's words about needing help, Steve Young's same words about needing help, really exemplified by Sam Darnold. And guess what? Frank Gore was right about his evaluation of Sam Darnold, and it wouldn't be the first time that Frank Gore was right. Let's look at beautiful downtown San Jose. We could spin around here. You can see that skyline. Now, I do know this about San Jose. The buildings are shorter because the airport is right behind us. The same reason that Levi Stadium doesn't have a roof is because it's in the San Jose airport's landing and takeoff path. So are the skyscrapers in downtown San Jose. So they have to cut them off at like 400 feet or something. That's why you don't have any super tall buildings. But you've got some condos. You've got the Adobe headquarters. I guess that's where they make Photoshop, right? In that building right there.
Yeah, I think we passed Zoom earlier too.
Oh, Zoom's here too. There's the tank one more time on the right as we loop around. And what we're going to do is we're going to get on 280. Now, the first part of 280 reminds me a little bit too much of an LA freeway. But then 280 gets really nice once you exit San Jose. It turns into what has been named the world's most beautiful freeway in between San Jose and San Francisco. Once it hits San Francisco, then it starts kind of crisscrossing through the southern neighborhoods.
Was it an interstate?
California, we call it a freeway. This,
Y'all are the only people that
well,
call it that.
well, look, this technically is an interstate because it has the shield, but 101 is not an interstate, and you keep on calling it an interstate, but 101 is a U.S. highway. It's not an interstate. The interstate, go to the sign. The interstates have to have the blue shield, see? 101's a freeway. It's not a highway. Like,
This is a California versus Tennessee argument here.
now, here's a NorCal versus SoCal argument. This is not the 280. This is 280.
Oh yeah, I couldn't handle it if you called it the 280.
Yeah.
That would be
But
too much.
LA people might really resort to calling this the 280 because this might remind them of LA. Like this looks like an LA freeway to me.
You know what that reminds me of?
What does it remind you of?
The California.
Oh, on the Saturday Night Live skit, right? SNL. But that's only Southern California. In Northern California, you do not put the in front of your freeway name. It's just 280. 280 from San Jose to San Francisco. And also, maybe I shouldn't let this secret out, but if you were driving in between San Jose and San Francisco, and I gave you a great sandwich video the other day, so I'm giving you tips. But another tip is do not take 101 unless you have one of these and you're willing to pay for the express lanes. This actually will save you a lot of time, but you have to get it. It's called a Fast Track Flex. 101 has express lanes, 280 does not. All right, we've made it to the nice part of 280, heading back to San Francisco with a stop in Palo Alto. But San Francisco, that's where the Palace of Fine Arts is, and that's where the NFL honors are going to be tomorrow night, Thursday night. And that is where Roger Craig will be officially announced as a Hall of Fame inductee, and maybe, just maybe, Frank Gore as well. Wouldn't it be fitting? Two 49ers running backs, both elected into the Hall of Fame in the same year, and both announced in San Francisco at the Palace of Fine Arts, not in San Jose. Up to 80 we go. We'll talk to everybody next time.